All right, well, let's go ahead and begin today's 1 hour webinar on online strategies for providing substance use prevention plus wellness programs. This is a repeat of actually a number of previous webinars on this topic. This is the most recent version. This is being recorded, so I'll send everyone who's attending or even who's registered a link for today's session. I'll send you a PDF of the slides. You're welcome to share both of those widely. I'll also send everyone a certificate for 1 hour CEU for the time you've spent with us today. And thank you so much for that. My name is Dr. Chudley Wirch, and I'm president and founder at Prevention Plus Wellness LLC, located here in Jacksonville, Florida. Thank you for joining us from around the country and abroad for today's session. Like I said, this is a repeat of yesterday's session, which went a bit awry because I don't know if any of you are here that were with us yesterday, but we were hosting the webinar from the outside of a Starbucks with the sunlight, with the cars and the emergency vehicles and fire engines racing by. It was not the best webinar ever hosted, that's for sure. So we wanted to do another one today to sort of make sure we have a good clean cut and record for those that might want to view this in the future. So once again, thank you for joining us. At the end of today's session, sometime today, I will send everyone an email. If you don't find it at the end of the day, do check your spam folders. It's likely been sent there because I'm going to send a couple of attachments, including a PDF of these slides, a certificate for 1 hour CEU, and there will be a link for the recorded session that we are recording today. So let's go ahead and launch into it. We've got 60 minutes to spend together. Keep in mind, this is your time. Whatever you need, whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to say, you have that. Your voice can be heard. And simply all you have to do is find your toolbar, find that little more heading with the 3 horizontal dots, click on that, and there's a live chat option. And you could ask any question, you can make any comment. And so I encourage you all to participate today. You can type in that live chat option anytime you want throughout the session. We will leave the last 5 or 10 or so, 15 minutes maybe left for Q&A, but don't wait till then. If you've got a comment, if you've got a question, type it in and I'll take those in the order they're received. And since we're all in this together, not just the country, but the world in terms of the pandemic, if you're having some difficult times, if you're having some successes professionally, feel free to share that with your friends and colleagues here today's session. So again, if we can support each other, help each other, love each other, that's the way to do it. And thank God all of you for all you do for children and for youth, I should say generally, and families in your communities. You're the unsung heroes of prevention and wellness specialists throughout the country. So anything we can do to support you here at Prevention Plus Wellness LLC, I'd love to do it. Let me know if we can help you. And this is just part of a whole page we have on our website on COVID-19 resources. So if you haven't been to our website, preventionpluswellness.com, do go there. And under the tools header, that's TOOLS, there's a whole bunch of resources that are free for you. Even if you don't use Prevention Plus Wellness programs or training, if you're a prevention specialist, a health specialist, if you're interested in and concerned about not just preventing substance use among young people, but also promoting protective wellness behaviors, then do go to our website, preventionpluswellness.com. Look at the tools heading. It'll be a drop-down menu with a bunch of free stuff, good things, good resources, web-based resources, as well as a COVID-19 resources page. You're welcome to all of it. All right, so let's take a look at the objectives for today. There's 3 session objectives. The first is to describe step-by-step methods for providing Prevention Plus Wellness programs live online to youth individually and in a group. We'll also talk much more briefly about a protocol also to provide Prevention Plus Wellness program via video and telephone. Secondly, to explore tools for monitoring and evaluating online Prevention Plus Wellness program quality and effectiveness. And thirdly, to identify PPW, that's Prevention Plus Wellness program online training and resources that we offer. So, so I know a lot of you are just trying to figure out what you're going to do next fall. Your localities, your states are figuring it out or planning it. Some of you know now, but it could change. Some of you are still waiting to hear, you know, are schools going to open? If so, in what way are they going to open? Is that going to change any with the continuing increasing spread of COVID, and particularly in some states like ours, Florida? So this is a very, very popular webinar. This is a critical topic for all of us. We do want to have a plan B. The plan A, of course, is providing our evidence-based, evidence-informed prevention programs to our youth and our young people individually or in a group, but in person if possible. But it's not necessarily going to be possible. So what's our best option? That's live online. So we're going to talk about the tools to help you do that, provide you to do that, steps to do that. And that's what the focus of today's webinar is. Remember, if you want to participate, we'd love to have everybody participate. Just click on that live chat and put in any comment, anything that's working for you, anything that you're having a problem with, any feedback you want to get from the rest of us. We're all in this webinar together. A lot of experience from throughout the country online today with everybody. So, and questions, of course. I'll try to answer any questions you might have. Type them in the live chat option. So let's take a look at the key advantages of Prevention Plus Wellness programs, just to start out with. Some of you may know about Prevention Plus Wellness programs, others not. So let's go ahead. This may be a review for some and new to others, but all Prevention Plus Wellness programs are evidence-based or evidence-informed. All of them use a screening and brief intervention format, which according to SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, is a evidence-based practice. So all PPW programs, Prevention Plus Wellness programs, follow an evidence-based practice, and they are single session screening and brief intervention, and they're scripted. In other words, the content is literally written out. This makes it very easy to implement, regardless of who's providing the program or when you provide it or in what setting. It really increases fidelity and reliability of program implementation. And because they're just a single session, even the busiest settings, even the busiest schools, even the schools that are wrestling with COVID and other things, you should be able to get in and provide that single session Prevention Plus Wellness, that evidence-based, evidence-informed message to youth, which is so critical to them, that they absolutely need more than ever with what's going on in the world. They need that content because we're seeing that there's increasing problems with substance use, more screen time or less physical activity, etc. All these behaviors, all these health habits are addressed in Prevention Plus Wellness programs integrated within a single session intervention. Also, PPW programs are very flexible. They can be implemented in person, individually or in a group, or online individually or in a group. So very, very flexible, and you're able to provide them in the best case scenario in person or in a plan B online. Also, because they're scripted, we can provide our training online, very brief 2-hour training, and that's for program implementers. It's also for program trainers, and we also even have a youth leadership training online for 1 hour where we train youth to provide our Prevention Plus Wellness programs to their peers. So peer-on-peer kind of instruction, very, very powerful strategy. Lastly, Prevention Plus Wellness programs include scannable and online pre-test and post-test surveys and goal plans, allowing you that flexibility. So when you do, or if you do have to provide Prevention Plus Wellness programs online, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to use these online tools to help you assess and monitor program fidelity and effectiveness. Now here's a listing in the order of preferred implementation methods. If you could implement an evidence-based program like Prevention Plus Wellness, and if you could implement it face-to-face, either to youth individually or in a group, whether that is all youth or high-risk youth, that's the most desirable strategy for a lot of obvious reasons. But again, with what's happening with different degrees of opening up of schools and youth groups and sports and youth organizations, etc., you may not be able to reach youth actually in person. If that's the case, then the next is the second best strategy, and that is live online. This allows an interactive learning experience. It also allows, to varying degrees, a video and audio experience. So if you can't provide your evidence-based, evidence-informed programs in person, live online is your next best approach, and that's what we'll really be focusing on, how to do that today. After that, I recommend probably a recorded video. At least a recorded video gives the participants, the youth, a visual and auditory experience. Of course, there's challenges to that. You don't know if youth are going to view the video, so forth. So we'll cover that a little bit too. And lastly, if you can't do in person, if you can't do live online, if you can't do a recorded video, then you have these other strategies as well: telephone, correspondence, email, etc. We will talk a little bit about, very briefly, a protocol to provide your program by telephone. So giving you that flexibility to make sure you get your Prevention Plus Wellness messages out there this coming fall. All Prevention Plus Wellness programs follow an evidence-based practices model, which is a screening and brief intervention. There's 3 components to this particular strategy that we use. The first step number 1, is you have youth do a self-assessment of their current health habits. That increases their awareness of their habits, not just substance use. So for example, if it's this evidence-based sport Prevention Plus Wellness program, that focuses primarily on alcohol. If it's the vaping Prevention Plus Wellness program, that focuses primarily on e-cigarettes, marijuana, PPW. You can guess what that emphasizes. Opioid, PPW, the same. So depending on which program that we offer, Prevention Plus Wellness program, it's going to have a focus on a primary substance abuse, and then there are the other chronic diseases that are addressed by focusing on wellness behaviors. In other words, physical activity and/or sports, healthy breakfast and nutrition, getting adequate sleep, and controlling stress. All of those are chronic diseases. They're all protective wellness behaviors, depending on what side of the coin you're looking at. All of those are addressed in the screening survey. Secondly, after you've assessed the youth's current health habits, and after they've had a chance to think about them, you're going to provide feedback on each of those healthy habits, and you're going to use positive image communication, key terminology that's going to elicit an unconscious image of themselves in the future, engage in the wellness behaviors, getting more active, fit, successful, healthy, etc. Those are very powerful image eliciting terms that increases motivation for change. And you do this by following the script, which is in your program manual, and you show your PowerPoint slides, which come in your digital download of all your reproducible materials. That's the process by which you give feedback, which again is designed to increase motivation for change. And then you capitalize on that with step 3, which is you walk youth through a multiple behavior goal setting practice and contract, where youth identify and pledge to avoid substance use, but also to engage in protective wellness behaviors. And this increases self-regulation or self-control skills, which are so critical for youth to develop, particularly high-risk youth. So a great strategy: screening, feedback, goal setting, screening, and brief intervention. Now, these are, let's say that you are able to implement your Prevention Plus Wellness program, or I would say any prevention program. To be able to do it in-person one-on-one is probably the ultimate because it can be the most powerful, personalized, intimate kind of a strategy. And here are the 4 steps for doing that if you use a prevention plus wellness program. So the first step is you're going to show your first program slide, and then you're going to follow your script in your manual, which provides an introduction to the program. Secondly, you're going to implement the screening survey to that individual youth or young adult. Remember, screening, feedback, goal setting. Third step is you're going to provide feedback that's tailored to how that individual youth responded to each of those survey questions, so it's customized to their responses. And then lastly, you're going to walk them through that goal plan contract. You're going to co-sign it, they're going to co-sign it. That increases motivational strength, and then they take that contract home, post it, and track their behaviors each day. Those are the 4 simple steps for implementing your Prevention Plus Wellness program in person, one-on-one. How about if you implement it in person in a group? Again, very simple, 4 very similar steps. Step number 1, you're going to show your first program, your introductory program slide. You're going to provide an introduction by reading the script. Secondly, you're going to implement the screening survey to that entire group. Thirdly, you're going to provide feedback to the group. Notice that the feedback is more generic because you're not providing it to individual youth. Nonetheless, even in a group setting, Prevention Plus Wellness programs are highly tailored. Why? Because each individual youth completes their own screening survey thinking about their health habits. And more importantly than that, even, each youth completes their own goal setting. So those goals are set to their needs, their interests, what they want to achieve in terms of changing behaviors and desired future images. Lastly, you're going to provide that goal setting contract. So those are the 4 steps if you implement Prevention Plus Wellness programs in person, one-on-one, or in a group. Now, let's look at the steps for providing it online. I've broken these out a little bit more. It's not that it's that much more complicated. I just wanted to be a little bit more specific for you, and I'm going to give you an example. So don't worry if you're having some problems understanding this at this point. I'm going to give you an example. So first of all, let's look at the steps for implementing your Prevention Plus Wellness program online with 1 youth. And then we'll look at the steps for implementing it online with 2 or more youth or a group of youth. And then I'll give you an example of how that looks and what it looks like. So no worries, but if you have questions, if something's confusing to you, you can write it in your live chat anytime we go along here, and we'll address that at the end of today's session. So step number 1 in this process is you're going to need to select, or in most cases, you don't have an option to select because your organization, your district, your school system, or whatever the case may be, is going to select it for you. They're going to identify what video conferencing service you're going to use. For example, you could use Zoom. That's what we're using today. It's a great system. We're very happy with it. I've been using it for a year and a half or so, and it works great for us. But others may have another platform. I hear a lot of organizations and schools are using Google Classrooms. My wife here in Jacksonville, Florida, Duval County, our schools, I should say, used Microsoft Teams. And so it doesn't really matter, but the point is you have a platform and you're going to need to become familiar with it. Now, more familiar, not just familiar in terms of, I've had a lot of webinars. I've been on a lot of webinars. I know what it's like. It's different to receive a webinar and versus to turn around and to provide a training program on the platform. So that's what you're going to need to become familiar with if you're not already. But no problems, because once you learn that platform, it'll become a great tool for you to make sure you have that communication, that contact, and be able to support your youth via a distance strategy. So it's a wonderful tool we're having to be able to have these video conferencing platforms. So you have a platform, get familiar with it, get comfortable with it, practice it, practice leading some webinars, practice leading some meetings. But if you're going to implement Prevention Plus Wellness program, certainly you want to practice providing them and becoming familiar with all the tools on your platform. For example, the first thing I did today is I enlarged my slide, so you get the whole screen effect. When I'm speaking to you today, I'm looking directly at the camera. So you think I'm looking at you, but I'm not. I don't see you. I look at the camera. But if we had a group and I saw your picture, I'd be looking down here at everybody's picture. And you notice it's not quite the same as looking up, and it seems like I'm actually communicating more with you. So these are little things that you'll learn as you practice. We also cover all of these things and these tips and these suggestions when we train you in a Prevention Plus Wellness program during our 2-hour live program implementer training. So we cover these things and we can tailor our training to your needs. So that's all step number 1. That's longer than we needed to be. So step number 2, we'll go through some of these a little bit quicker, is that you're going to obviously need to communicate with your youth and provide them a link to the session date and time, so that they're going to be able to click on it and you'll be able to open it up and then have that presentation of your Prevention Plus Wellness lesson. Thirdly, you want to confirm with that individual youth. Remember, just you and them. So you want to confirm that they're in a private setting if possible. So if they're in a room, close the door. But you really have to work with them under the assumption that it's not private. So keep that in mind. You want them to be in as private a setting as possible, as quiet a setting. If there is background noise and they don't have a headset or earbuds like I'm using with a built-in microphone, then you or they could mute their microphones so that there's not a background noise. Let's say they have a dog barking in the background or whatever the case might be. So you can control that to a certain extent. But again, the point is, try to make it as private as possible, but assume it's not. So when you do speak with them, particularly about the most sensitive behavior of your presentation, which is going to be the substance use behavior, whether it's alcohol, cannabis, opioids, e-cigarettes, you're going to want to be careful about that. You want to protect their responses when you speak to them. And I'll give you some examples of this. That's step 3. Step 4 is you want to display this optional pretest link. And you have 2 options here. You can show the pretest link you can just drop it into your PowerPoint slides, or you could drop it into your chat link, your chat option, the chat box. And then what you're going to do is you're going to give youth instruction and allow them time to click on that link and complete this pretest, online pretest, and then you can proceed with your lesson. So in other words, what we're saying is that we can give you an online link for a pretest and a post-test, and you could build it right within your single session lesson. So in the past, what we've done is we've recommended that providers and specialists send a pretest link out, then do the online lesson, then send a post-test link out asking youth to complete it. But what happens is that many youth, and maybe most of them, don't complete the pre and post test. So this is a much better strategy. You build in that few more minutes to your program to have them complete a pretest and a post-test. Now this is optional, but I'm going to tell you right now, really, it would be, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to do this, because you're going to be able to monitor the fidelity, the effectiveness of your program with very little effort. You don't have to collect data. You don't have to do anything. And so it's being done for you. You don't have to scan surveys like the other format that we provide, scannable surveys. This is a great way and an advantage to provide your program online, that you'll be able to collect pretest, provide your lesson, collect post-test data, and be able to track and monitor your program effects. That's step number 4. Step number 5, you're going to show your first program slide. And then you're going to proceed with the script introduction. Step number 6, you're going to continue showing your screening survey items on the program slides, and then have youth write down answers to each question on a separate sheet of paper. So here, what you're going to do is you're going to say, now let's do the screening survey. If you're in person with youth, you'll just make a copy of your screening survey from your digital download of your program, and you'll give them a copy. You can't do that online. So what we did with the new program adaptations for 2020 is we built in the screening survey items into your slides. So you could show your slides, show the screening items, screening survey items, and just say, all right, all of you just, or youth, just grab a sheet of paper, doesn't matter what it looks like, yellow, big, small, and a pencil or pen, and we're going to go through the screening survey, and I'm going to have you write your answers on a sheet of paper. That way youth are engaged, they're thinking, they're doing something, they're writing, and so they're going to be able to complete that screening survey on a piece of paper. So, and then at that point, you're going to provide feedback, and I'll demonstrate how to do this and some more content in just a minute. So let's skip the step number 7. And then when you ask a question of a youth, and we've integrated discussion questions now with our slides, program slides, but we built in discussion questions, which are really important to have more interaction during a group presentation and during online presentations. So when you raise this question for them, you could have them respond verbally or live chat. Now remember, this is one-on-one. Hopefully they have the technology to have a camera, to have a microphone, so that literally it'll be you and them. You could see them, they could see you. You could hear them, they could hear you. It's almost like being right there with them. And you could ask them the discussion question, they could respond. So it can be a very, very personalized strategy. So very good. If you could present your program online one-on-one, it's a perfect strategy to do. But we will be covering if you have to present it in groups of 2 or more individuals in just a moment. Step number 8, you're going to read and show the online goal plan, and you're going to have them complete the goal plan on a blank sheet of paper. Once again, they're going to need some paper, a pen or pencil. They have it already out probably for the screening survey. And so you'll be able to go through the slides, the new revised slides for your PPW program. It shows the screening survey, optional screening survey on the slides. You can have them complete it right then and there. An option to this is that we also have an online screening survey. We could send you the link, and by the way, all of this is included in new program manuals, and when you and is explained in more detail when you have your program implementer training. So, an option to this is we have a link to an online goal plan contract. So what you could do, once again, if you want, rather than walking them through and completing one on a sheet of paper, or perhaps in addition to that, if you want to, you could drop your link into the slide. You can drop the goal plan link into the chat box, have them click on it, wait a couple of minutes for them to complete the online goal plan. And then if they have an option capability, they could print out a copy for their records. So that's an option. They could write one on a sheet of paper. They can also do one online. Step number 10, you're going to display that link for the post test, have them click on it, give them another minute or 2 to complete the post test, and they're done. You'll dismiss them, congratulate them for completing the lesson online. And then lastly, step 11 is your job to complete the instructor survey. That's a process assessment. It's a self-assessment. You provide an assessment of yourself and how well you did in the presentation of that Prevention Plus Wellness program. So those are the steps. How about, what if we want to present a Prevention Plus Wellness program live online to 2 or more people? Well, it's going to depend on the size. If it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then it could be still quite an intimate interaction. Whereas if your youth or young adult participants have the bandwidth and have the technology to have a microphone, to have a camera, that means that all of you will be able to see each other, hear each other, and you'll be able to go around the group and respond. as a group and keeping everybody active and involved in the lesson. If you have a large group, an intact group, like a health education class or PE or sports or something, if you have to do that, and that's the least desirable, but still better than not presenting a lesson, certainly, if you have to do that, then the challenge is going to be to keep everybody engaged and involved. Obviously, if you have a large group, and I say large by 20, 25, 30, it's going to probably be counterproductive to have everybody's video on, even if they have that option. You know, you can imagine 30 little windows of people's faces are going to be very tiny. So, and to have people speak may or may not be functional either. You may have to rely on some of the other tools in your online platform, particularly the live chat. I think all platforms, and most of them, have a live chat, so you can get people to type in their answers. You do want to have everybody respond. You do want to have everybody participate, but you're not going to be able to take the time to have everybody show everybody's response by live chat, for example. You also have other tools. You've got a thumbs up somebody used earlier today, a yes and a no you can click on. So there's other tools. All these tools you need to become familiar with so that you can use them when you present your PPW program to your youth in a group setting. Again, group meeting 2 or more people at the same time. So what are the steps again? There's 10 steps here, very similar to the one-on-one, a little bit different. I'll show you what the differences are. Step 1, you have to start with your online platform, become familiar with it. Step number 2, you're gonna send your group of youth a link to the date and time for the session. Maybe have them register in advance for it. They just click on the link and then they'll be reminded of when it comes up. Step number 3, again, you're displaying that link to the pretest, either in the live chat or in the slides, giving them a minute to click on it, and in each of them completing the pretest. Once that's done, they can give you the thumbs up, or you could ask them, are you ready to go? Everybody's done. You could ask them for a yes and no response. You could ask them for a verbal response. You could ask them if they have a picture to show the thumbs up, whatever you want, whatever works better for you. Experiment with these different approaches, and based on the size of your group, you give them time to complete that pretest, and then you're ready to launch into the program, where step number 4, you show the first program slide and you provide the introduction. Step number 5, you then walk them through the screening survey and have, again, each one of them complete the screening survey on a blank sheet of paper. So you're going to have to give them maybe a minute to grab some paper, grab a pencil or pen, show the slides that highlight these screening survey items, and have them write the items on a blank sheet of paper. I'm going to show you how this works in just a moment. Step number 6, when you ask a discussion question, getting feedback is going to depend on the size of the group. If you have a small group of 2 to 6 or so, you can go around the group and have them all respond verbally. If it's a larger group, again, once you get up in the 20s and 30s, then probably not video, maybe not even audio. That might be too much. So you might have to rely on live chat, have them all respond, but then look at your live chat and pick 2 or 3 responses so that you don't spend an inordinate amount of time, 2 or 3 responses, and then go on to provide feedback. There'll be a number of opportunities for discussion questions. So you could pick somebody from the live chat so that just about everybody can participate, but you want to pick different people to read their responses with each ongoing discussion question. Step number 7, you're going to read and show the online plan and goal contract, have them complete it on a blank sheet of paper, or your option, step number 8, is you could show them a link to the goal plan, have them click on it, and then each of them fill it out online at that time. Once that is done, you go to step number 9 and you show your post-test link, have them complete that, and then they're done. You congratulate them and thank them, and you could follow up with them if you have that opportunity to see how well they did with their goal setting and worked on their goal plans in the future. And lastly, you're going to complete step number 10, a instructor survey. That's a self-assessment of how you felt things went during your presentation. Let me show you how this works. So these are actual slides of the evidence-based sport prevention plus wellness program, single session screening brief intervention, high school, middle school, elementary school versions. We're going to use the high school version as an example today. So here are the slides, and this is what you would show. This comes in your digital download. You have your program manual in hand, so you'll be able to follow your script, show your slides, and this is a presentation whether you do this in person or online. Notice the slides fully enhanced and enlarged so that they don't see the toolbar. And then you'll learn all these things as you practice and go along. But notice that the slides will cue you as to what you're doing, and this follows along with your script. So your script will say, ask the youth to complete the health and fitness screen. The slides will remind you and show the youth that that's what they need to do. And then the screening survey questions come up. So again, this is the high school version for sport. The emphasis is on alcohol primarily. And so you're going to ask the youth to, on a blank sheet of paper, respond to this first question. Now, the first question is, what sports physical activities did you play in the last year? And that's question one. So you're going to say, all right, take your sheet of paper, put a number 1 there, and let's go down this list, look down the list, each of you, whether that's one youth or, again, more than one youth, and whichever of those that you've done in the last year, the last 12 months, you're going to write that word down. So let's say you played some baseball or softball. Even if you just threw a baseball or softball, give yourself credit for that. That's a physical activity. Write the name baseball down under number 1 if you played baseball or threw a baseball, hit a baseball in the last 12 months or last year. How about basketball? If you played any of that, write that down and so forth. So there's a long list there, and it goes on to the next slide. And they could even write in other items such as work and chores and mowing the yard, cleaning the house, other kinds of sports not listed. So they're getting themselves a full assessment of what they've done in the last 12 months with regard to physical activity. The second question, again, this is the Sport PBW program for high school, asks them about regular physical activity, which is to say, do you participate in any physical activity for at least 30 minutes, 4 or 5 times a week, for example? And there's some examples there: riding a bike, running, walking, swimming, that type of thing. Okay, and the answer yes or no to that item. So they put a number 2, and then they write the word yes, or they write the word no. Question 3, do your friends influence you to participate in regular physical activity? This is an environmental question. And again, they put a number 3 in the answer. They write the answer yes or no. Question 4 is about usually eating a healthy breakfast each morning. There's some examples of what that could be: cereal and low-fat milk, whole wheat toast, oatmeal, eggs, yogurt, fruit. And they put a number 4 in the answer yes or no. Question 5, do they usually get 8 or more hours of sleep each night? They put a 5 in the answer yes or no. And then with the Sport Prevention Plus Wellness Program high school version, the last item is about alcohol use. And it's worded: during the past 30 days, what's the greatest number of alcohol drinks you've had at any one time? And it goes from 0 drinks to 5 or more. Here, you might want them to answer only A, B, C, D, E, F in case somebody's listening in, or you may want them not to answer at all, just to answer in their own head, so that if somebody is listening in at their home setting or wherever they're logging into, that won't be exposed to whoever's listening. So you got to keep in mind that, again, you want them to be in a private setting. That's whether it's one youth or a group of youth. You want them to be in a private setting. You want them to be in a quiet setting, but assume that it is not private when you present this content and get the feedback. Now, the new slides that we offered in 2020 will restate each of these screening survey questions. What sports or physical activities did you play last year? If you present this in the group to 2 or more, the actual protocol will have you ask each of the youth, well, did you play any baseball or softball? Did you play any basketball? And so if it's just one youth or a handful of youth, you could see their faces, and they could raise their hands. If it's a large number, they could click on yes or thumbs up. And so you want them to respond in whatever way you can get them to respond when you read through that long list of sports and physical activities that they might have done in the last year, so that you can communicate with everybody that yes, my peers are physically active, very powerful and practical and useful social norm to display. Then you're going to provide feedback. The feedback is, first of all, the first slide is going to highlight the benefits of that wellness behavior, that sports physical activity in the last year. You're going to have a lot of image terms like fit and strong, very, very powerful, motivating, future image evocative terms, as well as any other benefits like doing better in school and work. And then some images or some illustrations which are going to, hopefully your youth will see representations of themselves, both genders, different types of ethnicities, different types of positive activities. And there's room for tailoring these pictures. And we cover that during the 2-hour live online program implementer training. Then you're going to link how, in this case, sport for high school, you're going to link how alcohol interferes with physical activity and those positive outcomes and images. And of course, our other programs will address how e-cigarettes or opioids or cannabis interferes with these healthy behaviors and images. There's the second screening survey question. It's a repeat again. Do you participate in any physical activity for at least 30 minutes 4 or 5 times a week? Now, if you're asked if implementing this to one youth, you're going to tailor the response depending on how they answer. You didn't see their answer on a blank sheet of paper, so when you ask this again, you could just have them answer yes or no. If they answer yes, you could read the yes response. If they answer no, you read the no response. So you can do the tailoring on the fly here with these, with these slides. So what are the benefits and images associated with regular physical activity? Here are some. And now we have built-in discussion questions. So here's the first one. What types of sports or other physical activities would you like to try? Something you've always wanted to try, never had a chance to, or maybe do more of, something that you really like to do and just haven't had the time or taken the time to do it. So here's where you get some feedback. If you have a small group, you can go around the group. Everybody can answer verbally. If you have a large group, you can have people answer by live chat and pick 2, 3, 4 examples and look at them and highlight them and thank those individuals and then go on. You got to sort of balance this. If you have a large group, remember you're trying to get all this done in one setting, one session. That includes the pre-test, the lesson with the goal plan, and the post-test. So you do want to watch the time. You want to have interaction. You want to keep everybody involved, but you also want to keep moving along. And now this highlights where alcohol and other drugs is going to interfere with being regularly physically active. Eventually, you're going to come to recommendations for increasing wellness. That includes not just avoiding alcohol, but also other drugs. That's item number 4, as well as increasing all of these other protective behaviors. Lots of physical lots of sleep, 8 or more hours. Some youth need 9, some need 10. Healthy breakfast and other healthy foods like fruits and vegetables. Participation in lots of activity every day, whether that be sports or non-sport related or combination thereof. Then it's going to be, you're going to be cued as to how to implement a goal plan. Now, if you're in person, you actually have a physical, a hard copy. You make copies of it and you hand it out, and everybody walk you through it. If you present this online, like we're doing, you're going to just follow the slides because we have a slide version now built into your PowerPoint slides. So you could show the slides, they could answer the questions on a blank sheet of paper, or again, your option could be showing the link to the online goal plan, letting them have a couple, 3, 4 minutes to go there and to complete it, and then maybe having a brief discussion afterwards before you go to your post-test. So what is on the online goal plan? By the way, I'm going to send everybody a PDF of these slides. So in the left-hand column, you can see there's a link there. You'll be able to click on that and go check it out for yourself, see what you think about that. So the hard copy goal plan, the online goal plan are more similar to different, but there are a number of differences. The online goal plan, by the way, we can give you a customized link to your online goal plan. We can give you customized links to your pre-test and post-test. And by that, I mean, we can give you a link that has your name on it, so it's just used by you, so that when your youth and young adult participants complete a screening survey, I should say, complete a pre-test, complete a post-test, complete a goal plan online, just your youth data will be separate from everybody else's who is implementing these programs throughout the country and world. So I can do that for you, and we discussed that again in our training. It's no big thing, but it is nice because then it's just your data, your youth, and you can monitor the youth outcomes. So we can send you that customized link to your pretest, to your post-test, and to your online goal plan. The goal plan includes couple of demographic items, such as grade and age. They will ask them to make a pledge to avoid alcohol and other drugs. Then number 3, it'll measure their healthy habits. One healthy habit could be related to sleep, could be related to breakfast nutrition, could be related to physical activity, could be related to stress control. Then they're going to identify who is going to co-sign their goal plan. Very important. Co-signing increases the motivation level. It makes it a public document. If you present this in person, you co-sign it, but now you're doing it online. So they're going to identify somebody in their life, somebody in their home or their life that they can share this with and have them co-sign it. And then they're going to also identify where they're going to post their goals. And then they can complete a couple of feedback questions to tell you what they liked and didn't like about the lesson. And then they could rate the goal plan on a 5-point star scale. We can also provide you, as I mentioned, with customized pre-test and post-test links. We've reduced the size of these pre-test, post-test because we got feedback from youth that when they did a pre-test and then they did the lesson, then they did a post-test in one setting, it was too many survey questions. So it's just a bare minimum, but still very, very important and critical content. In particular, there's 2 main measures. The first is behavioral intention, which is the most important and most predictive measure of future health behaviors among young people. And so that includes 5 substance use behaviors that are being measured and 4 wellness behaviors. The 5 substance use measures of behavioral intention include, do they intend to, in the future, in the next year, drink any alcohol, cigarettes, smoke any alcohol, use any tobacco, e-cigarettes, marijuana, or other illegal drugs, as well as the 4 wellness behaviors: nutrition, sleep, exercise, and stress control. And then there's and then there's perceived harmfulness is the second measure. So behavioral intentions, the most predictive measure of future behaviors. The second measure, also predictive of future behaviors, perceived harmfulness. That's of the 5 substances: alcohol, cigarettes, alcohol, tobacco, e-cigarettes, marijuana, and illicit drugs. And there's a link to one of them, pre-test, post-test, which you'll be able to look at when I send you the PDF. Now, that's how you implement PBW programs online to an individual youth or 2 or more youth. How about if you can't do that? Or how about if you also want to cut a video and send them a link? Now, remember, this is not as good as live. It's not as interactive, but some organizations, some professionals want to do this. So what you would do is you'd record yourself presenting the lesson, and then you would send your participating youth a link with perhaps a link to the online goal plan. And then you'd perhaps give them instructions and send along with that video link and the goal plan link a pre-test and post-test link. So hopefully they would complete a pre-test. Hopefully they would view the video and complete a goal plan, and then hopefully they would do a post-test. But notice, you really don't have any control over that. Once you send out the link, you don't know what they're going to do. You could follow up with them and say, hey, did you do pre-test, post-test, and goal plan? But you're not there monitoring it, and you're not there having an interaction with them. So this is an option, not as good as the live online implementation of a program. But I do know some of you will be doing this to a certain extent, so I wanted to highlight. Very simple in terms of, and it'll save you a lot of time, because just think, if you're going to present 10 lessons and you made one video of the lesson and sent it to the 10, you're saving yourself a lot of time. But the question is, it's not going to be the same quality. It's not going to have the same potential impact. But then again, if you're able to collect the pre-test, post-test, you'll be able to assess that. you'll be able to determine the potential effectiveness of it. And you could even compare the effectiveness of the video versus the live if you collect your pre and post test data. Here's a protocol for those of you that may be in a remote areas, maybe you don't, a low SES population of youth. For whatever reason, they don't have the technology, they don't have the internet service. You can make a phone call and you can provide your Prevention Plus Wellness program to them. You could improve it, the quality of it, by sending them a hard copy of the screening survey and the goal plan in advance, maybe even the slides of the program, so that when you call them, they could look at the slides. So it's doable. It's doable. It's not preferable. It's behind the preference for, again, the preference is in person individually, in person in a group. Secondly, live online, individually or in a group, smaller group than the larger group, by video, and then lastly by telephone. But if this is the only way you can do it, please use it, because the youth need to hear your voice, you need to hear them, you need to be, and it's just not the content, it's just not the program and the goal setting and all of that, which is so important, but it's just that they know that you're there and you're supporting them. And I guess the other benefit is that the phone call is individual, so it is tailored to their needs. So that's a plus. So what do we have for resources and training on our website? Well, after today, we're going to use this, put this link on our website. We have one already, but this is an updated recording of this presentation on online strategies for providing substance use prevention plus wellness programs. It's on our COVID-19 resources page on our website, preventionpluswellness.com. We also will be posting we also have posted the remote online protocol. So when we talked about today in this presentation, you can see a hard copy of them, print out a hard copy if you want them. Again, COVID-19 resources, preventionpluswellness.com. We also offer a 2-hour live online program implementer training where we can discuss with you, walk you through these steps, and help you tailor and prepare for presenting your Prevention Plus Wellness program in person, plan A, plan B, online. We also offer a 2-hour live training of trainer. We also offer a 1-hour live youth leadership training where we can train youth to provide the same Prevention Plus Wellness program to their same age or younger age peers. And then we have new programs, 2020 programs with these revised and updated PowerPoint slides, making it more interactive and including these tools for you to provide your program online. Lastly, again, there's that number 7, the COVID-19 resources page. There's a link for it. You can click on it. So in review, number 1, PPW programs can be provided to youth in person, one-on-one or in a group, as well as live online, one-on-one or in a group, as well as by video, as well as by telephone. Number 2, we have a bunch of resources on our website. Go ahead and check it out, preventionpluswellness.com. Number 3, we include built-in tools that can be customized. The links can be customized to your organization so that just you have control over your own data that you collect if you do so choose to use the online pre-test, the online post-test, and or the online goal setting. So those are all great tools. So you can learn more, preventionpluswellness.com. Info@preventionpluswellness.com is if you want to email us, and there's our phone number here in Jacksonville, Florida, 904-472-5022. Go to our website, preventionpluswellness.com, type in your email, and you'll get weekly email reminders of free webinars and other things that we offer. There's what our homepage looks like at the moment. And so I'm going to stop at this point and thank everybody and see if anybody has any questions. So go to your live chat. It's on the More heading, the 3 horizontal dots. Go to there if you haven't been there already and type in any question, type in any response, type in any comment or communication you want to make right now. I'm sorry, I'm looking out the window. Looks like somebody's coming up to the door. So, all right. Let me see if anybody has any questions or comments. Can't see the slides. I can see you. I don't know about that. I didn't think you could do prevention one-on-one. This would be treatment. Yes, you can do prevention one-on-one, absolutely. And if it's with a general youth population, then it would be considered a universal prevention intervention. If it's higher risk youth, let's say drug using youth or those with behavioral problems or whatever the case may be, then it would be considered maybe a selective or indicated program. So yes, you can provide a screening brief intervention, which is a prevention program to youth individually. Very, very powerful strategy, and it's being used throughout the country, all 50 states and abroad. We've done it in at least 4 trials, randomized trials, actually 5 with someone who did a trial in Istanbul, Turkey. So it's been implemented individually and in a group. So excellent. You're welcome. Can't see the slides. By the way, I'm sorry you can't see the slides. I don't know what happened there, but I will send you a PDF of the slides. So no worries. And you'll have a link to this recorded session if you want to review it again. And then hopefully you'll see the slides in the recording. Are the costs listed on the website? Yes, the costs are listed. So, and it depends on what you want to purchase. So if you're interested in using any of our programs, the programs are listed under the heading of programs, training under training. It's all on our website, preventionpluswellness.com. If you have any questions, let me know. Shoot me an email at info@preventionpluswellness.com. Or if you just go to our website, there's a little live chat in the lower right-hand corner, and just click on that and you can send me an email that way. So, okay, see some of you got to go. Anything else? We've got several more minutes. So if you have any other questions about any of this, how to present Prevention Plus Wellness programs online, or how to present any evidence-based or evidence-informed, maybe even any non-evidence-based program, if you absolutely are using that and have to use that, how do you present it online? Do you have any questions about that or comments? Has anything worked for you? Anything you've tried that hasn't worked? Now is the time to share your knowledge or your problems that you've had with others or your colleagues throughout the country. Now is the time to do that. So let me know if you have any questions. We've got a couple more minutes. I can wait for you. I'm happy to stay as long as you want to, but I don't want to cut this off until I give everybody a chance. Sometimes it takes a while for everybody to think about what they want to write and respond. So just another couple more minutes. If you have a question, let me know. Remember, I'm going to send everybody who's registered a link to the recorded session, a certificate for 1 hour CEU for attending this session, and a PDF of the slides, which I highly encourage you all to share widely in your region, your state, your nation, so that everybody can hear the good news. If you're interested in this model that we use, where it integrates substance use prevention with the promotion of protective wellness behaviors, very holistic, very cost effective. You get a manual, get a digital download, don't have to purchase anything else, and very, very brief. You can expand it beyond a single session. We train you how to do that. We provide you that feedback if you want to expand it. We even have one of our programs, Sport 2, which is our multi-session program, which is 6 sessions. So lots of options in terms of our programs, in what the focus is on substance use. Sport and InShape, by the way, for young adults, addresses mostly alcohol, but found to be effective for alcohol, tobacco, and cannabis. And then we've got the other substance use programs, marijuana PPW, opioid PPW, vaping PPW, that's e-cigarettes. Then we have In God's Image, which is our faith-based program. Sport 2, which is, again, 6 sessions. So, all right, just checking one more time. I don't see any other questions. So thank you all for joining me today, for taking time from your schedules. God bless you for what you do. Again, if I can help in any way, let me know. And I'll be sending something to you by the end of today. If you need anything, you could just respond back to my email. So have a great afternoon. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your family, and protect yourselves. And hopefully I'll be able to communicate with some of you in the future. All right. Bye, everybody.